Hello, I am Bentham. Welcome back to Factorio Railworld, where we're in the process of finishing off loading the Megatrain, and then we will begin our journey around the lake for the second time in order to fully conquer it and build a railway and stuff like that. So we're just checking up on the runnings of the factory and things, and grabbing a couple of bits and bobs because we're going to go down to the train, and it helps if we've got a couple of the things that we want to set filters for, just to speed things up. So we've got what we want. Let's go over this way, and then suddenly all the lights have gone out. Everything's just shut down. Checking the power system, I find out that the accumulators have cut out. Barely, the night has only just started, and everything's already died. So that's pretty terrible. After a moment, the sun starts rising and the solar panels start kicking in again, and things slowly recover, but it's clear that we have a very serious power issue on our hands. What it looks like has happened is the power is just the consumption has slowly climbed up, and it's got to a point where the solar panels weren't charging the accumulators enough, so the accumulators were only half charged when the night came, and they very quickly died. And the main reason for this is all the robots that are now being employed to load the Megatrain. It's causing quite a strain on everything, really. I think the most power-consuming thing now is the roboports for their charging power, and there's nothing I can do about that because it doesn't use modules. So I just have to put in more power production for the first time in many episodes. I don't know how long, like probably a dozen or more, I imagine. I don't know if I've added in any more power stuff since the first time I went round the lake. But anyway, we've added in a few more solar panels, though not as many as I want to, and I've also added in a new square of accumulator to bring us up to 12 squares, which does mean we once again have a very nice shape of accumulator fields, I guess, though that's not particularly important. So we'll go back down and grab some more solar panels. They're being made. We've got nearly a full stack of them made again while we've been gone, and I just decided to wait a little bit longer so that we can get the right amount to sort of make all the solar panels line up and stuff. So there we go. And then we'll take one more trip over to our solar field to add in a little bit more, and see how things go from there. Now the good thing is that while I'm doing all this, I'm not adding any more strain to the power system, because I'm not telling the bots to add anything more to the Megatrain. Unfortunately, there's still a ton of work to be done with it, and so they're being kept very busy. So there's going to continue to be some strains on the power system. Of course, once the Megatrain is loaded, and then the loading system is loaded, and then the main factory itself is all calmed down and filled up all the chests in various places again, then everything will calm down and the power consumption will drop to a tiny fraction of what it usually is. There'll still be a little bit for the rocket defense per hour challenge. That is still going. I've sort of abandoned checking up on it at this point. It's going to happen if it happens. And it looks like at the moment we're making like one every 2 hours, so that's no good. But whatever, it's fine. Let's carry on. Nearly getting hit by a train there as I make my way down to the Megatrain loading area to finish up to carry on where I was going to before everything went horribly wrong. So this one's going to have some circuits. We're going to have 5 stacks of electronic circuits. So that's 1,000. The same for advanced circuits, and 5 stacks of processing units, which is 500 because their stack size is smaller. Then we have 5 stacks for gears, which is 500, 5 stacks of batteries, which is 1,000 and probably overkill, and then 2 stacks of electric engines and 3 stacks of normal engines, to just help with crafting of all sorts of little random things I probably won't even think of until I'm on my way. I mean, I may not use half of the stuff that's on this train. It's all worst case scenario stuff. I've just got everything loaded onto the train so that whatever eventualities I encounter, I can hopefully deal with them. One thing I haven't considered is if the train gets blown up, because at that point I won't have half its contents, but we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. I'm of course going to have plenty of stuff in my inventory itself during the journey as well. That's something to bear in mind. So I don't need literally everything in the train, and also I don't need some random little fiddly things because I can just craft those when I feel like it. But anyway, we're setting up 2 more cargo wagons. At this point we're into the fiddly stuff. There's a lot of little random things, just one-off items that we need to work out, and I have no idea whether I'm going to have enough room or not enough, or too much room. So I'm just sort of working out 2 of them at once here. We've got 2 stacks of each kind of blue belt stuff and 3 stacks of each kind of standard belt stuff. And then we're putting in like a stack of all the different kinds of power distribution, except the medium power poles, because I don't see the point of those really. I mean, I can always just craft them anyway if it turns out I need some. And then also the 2 kinds of flying robots. We've got 2 stacks of fast inserters, 1 stack of long-armed inserters, all sorts of random little buildings. I've completely lost track, to be honest. We've got radars, we've got roboports. I'm just sort of searching through the entire inventory system, seeing if there is anything else, and just sort of slowly gathering little random things that we need. We've got pump jacks in there and mining drills in case we need to mine some stuff, lights and repair packs. We're going to do modules, so I've got 2 stacks of level 1 efficiency modules and 2 stacks of level 2s. Then I changed my mind and switched that one of the stacks of level 2s to some level 1 speed modules, because they're quite useful in crafting of a couple of different things, and they're a good thing to have around. Checking even more stuff to work out what we've missed. Mostly at this point it's just buildings that we can use to build a factory and stuff. Because of course this train isn't just going to build a railway. It's not just going to go building a track all the way around the lake and that's that. We've got to actually do some stuff with it, and I don't have any specific plans right now other than setting up some sort of outpost on the opposite end of the lake. And I don't know how many we'll do between then. We might do occasional waypoints, we might do some mining outposts and things. I really have no proper plan as to how this journey is going to go. I'm just sort of setting it up, seeing how it goes. I'm moving some stuff around right now because I've worked out that I actually have more space than I need, so I'm filling it with like increasing the number of stacks of certain things. And I'm also moving it around because I like to keep it neat and ordered and it to some degree categorized, though that's mostly collapsed at this point. So I've gone back up to 2 stacks of level 2 efficiency modules. I've got medium electric poles now involved, and that means that one cargo wagon there is filled. I also just dumped a bit of my inventory into that cargo wagon just to help with the loading. And also because my inventory is full of all sorts of random bits right now, and it's debatable how much of it I actually need. But anyway, we're now coming up to a momentous occasion. The next time it autosaves, it will autosave at the exact moment that this game reaches 50 hours of play, which is a bit ridiculous, really. I think that and then 5 seconds after that, it will break my personal record for longest running Factorio game. The embarrassing thing is that the game that is breaking the record. Oh, and there it was. That was it. That was the 50-hour mark. But yeah, the previous game that held that record was one where I'd literally just finished it at 50 hours and 5 seconds, which shows how terrible I was the first couple of times around when I was playing. I've got the hang of it more and I can complete them in more like 30, but that's still fairly slow. But anyway, we're sorting out all the remaining requested chests and things we need now. We need a ton of them for these last couple of cargo wagons because we've got so many little bits and bobs. And what I can do is I can have one requested chest dealing with multiple items, but the issue then is that you can have all sorts of trouble with unloading those chests, because if a chest has, say, like, I don't know, an efficiency module and a speed module in it, and the train comes up and it's full of speed modules and only wants efficiency modules, but the inserter is holding speed modules, the inserter can't do anything. Because it can't unload the speed module because there's no room for that, which means it can't then go and load up all the efficiency modules. So you do face issues if you have it where one requested chest is dealing with multiple items, because they can't to some degree, which is why I'm trying to separate it up, but it ultimately collapses with this because there are more than 14 different items, and 14 is how many you can have because that's how many requested chests you can fit around a cargo wagon. So we've got a few of them that have that are dedicated to an item, but a lot of the ones on the bottom are dedicated to like 2 buildings or whatever. And I've sort of categorized them similarly because the hope with that is that I will use them at the same time, like miners and furnaces, so when the time comes, the train will need loading with both of those things and the inserter will be able to deal with it correctly. I mean, I could be wrong about how it works. It might be that the inserter doesn't pick anything up until a train comes along asking for something. I don't pay enough attention to these things to know what the problem is. But anyway, all the requested chests are now set up for the train. I'm leaving the remaining cargo wagon on the end empty. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm sure I'll find a job for it during the journey. But anyway, we're over in Iron Outpost 1 because as I was passing, I noticed that it was actually running a bit low on iron. The belts were all thinning out, which is no good, so we need to add in a couple more mining drills to keep that running at full speed. And we are slowly working our way through this outpost now. It's getting there. Eventually, this outpost would run out, but I think the series will finish before then. But yeah, it's ridiculous that it's lasted this long, and I'm actually quite annoyed about that, because the way I set up the map settings in the beginning was so that that sort of thing wouldn't happen, so that there were sort of decently sized deposits, but not massively. So, I mean, that makes little sense, really. The idea was that they would run out, like, after not too long a time, and I could move on to a new one. So I could keep doing more stuff with the trains. Unfortunately, that's not happened, and Iron Outpost 1 has been running since the dawn of time. But whatever, one day it'll die, but I may be dead myself by then, honestly. I mean, I don't think I'm going to play the file long enough for it to get to that. But anyway, what I'm doing now is I'm in the middle of the base with some provider chests, and just sort of putting them all over the place. I've also noticed that we have run out of stone, raw stone, in the wall production and the rail production. So I've set up a requested chest that was requested 20,000 of it. I doubt there's 20,000 of it anywhere to supply. So what we're going to do is go over and build a new stone mining area. Unfortunately, this stone deposit is huge and right next to the base, so it looks like we're never going to have a stone train. I was hoping that might be a thing one day, but it just is completely illogical. But what we do need to do is sort out Roboport stuff. What I've decided is that the stone here is going to be delivered by logistics bots, because the infrastructure is already mostly in place, and it's a fiddly area to maneuver around, and I can't be bothered sending belts all the way. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to put a couple of Roboports in, and then the bots can reach it. We're going to have an inserter loading all of the stone into a provider chest, and then the bots will come and sort all that out themselves. So we get that done, but then it turns out that one fast inserter is not enough to deal with all of the stone that's being loaded. So we move up this substation by one so we can fit it inside. Then we put a extra inserter on the other side of the box, so that it gets loaded quick enough, and hopefully the bots will sort that out. At the moment they're all delivering stuff to me. I wonder if we actually need to get more bots on the case, because right now there's so much that needs loading into the Megatrain, and now I've got this stone being delivered, and the bots need to deliver to me all the time. I'm not sure how many I have in the system right now, but I should probably pay more attention to it, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are no spare jobs right now. I mean, no, there are spare jobs right now, and there's not enough bots to deal with it. I could be wrong, though. It depends entirely on like whether there is enough material around to supply the Megatrain. So like I was just tracking an issue with the steel there. The steel line was ridiculously thinned out, and it turned out that there was just insane amounts of ammo being produced because of all the things it's needed for. Well, it's needed to deliver to me because I put some into the cars that I was driving a minute ago, and also it needs to be used to make destroyer capsules, of which I have requested 1,500. A request that will probably never be complete, but whatever. Overkill is fun. But anyway, what we're going to set up now is some more general production, because the thing is, with the train needing supplying with all sorts of random bits of factory stuff, a lot of the stuff that it needs is not actually made right now, and so can't be put into a provider chest. A lot of the stuff I've just made manually myself for the longest time. So today, we're changing that. We're building a bunch of new bits of production everywhere to sort that out. So we've got production of splitters and underground belts there, and then on this side we're going to build long-handed inserters and fast inserters, because this bit of the factory is now irrelevant because it's for green science, and science doesn't happen anymore, and hasn't happened for a very long time. So what we can just repurpose this particular area for new production, so that we can get some proper automatic loading of the Megatrain. The main aim is that eventually the Megatrain loading process will be completely automated, because everything it needs will be supplied. And it means that if, say, I'm out in the wilderness and the trains run out of materials and I've run out of stuff, I can just send the Megatrain back over to its loading area, have it sit there for a few minutes and get loaded up with everything, and then return with all its stuff, and everything will be fine again. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is helping to automate things by putting in provider chests where it's needed. There's a couple of places where I've got stuff being produced and even being put into chests, but they're not provider chests, so they're not actually able to be delivered to the train. So there's like pump jacks and the different kinds of capsules and stuff. And then the next thing I'm going to work on is what is it? It's blue underground belts, because we don't have any production of that right now. I'd like to do the proper belt production system that I've got going in No Crafting Challenge, but unfortunately, it's like when I was originally setting up all the production stuff for belts, the crafting recipes were actually different. So at the time, it only made sense to make normal belts and then just craft, blue belts, and then just craft the blue belts into the other stuff you needed and just make it all manually. And then while this series was running, they updated it so that you now needed to craft splitters in assemblers, and now finally we've set up underground belts as well. Of course, the impact of this is that gear consumption is now absolutely insane, because they use ridiculous amounts of gears, and in fact it's the only thing they do use. So having to put blue belts all over the gear system, and I've added in 2 new assemblers for that. We've now got 6 of those running, which is crazy. And it's still not enough to actually fill out the belts. But it'll be enough to get that system going at some sort of pace. And so now we'll move on to the next bit of production. We're just sort of looking through the crafting stuff, because there's so many different things now need setting up that I'm just completely losing track of it. One of the things is assemblers. We need to set up some assemblers, so that the level 3s can be delivered to the train. I believe we've got 2 stacks of those required, and that's how I've ended up setting it up. A lot of stuff I didn't comment on at the time, but I've now got 2 stacks of level 3 assemblers in the train, and I've also got speed modules and steel and wooden chests in the second to last cargo wagon, the last one being the empty one, which I sort of skimmed over. That's the thing, there was so much going on. At the time it felt really slow, because I was really puzzling over what to do where. But of course at 3 times speed it breezes by in moments. So anyway, what we're now doing is setting up the actual supply lines for the production of assemblers. We're going to have 1 line with gears and circuits and 1 line with iron, because that works out nicely. And we managed to sort of fit it all in. We have to move a couple of things around, but it works out fine. And then we can put in the inserters for loading all the stuff there, put in a substation, get that all powered, and then we can set up the inserters themselves. So I actually run out of, I think, level 1 efficiency modules for a second, and I have to grab a couple more so I can actually finish off with that. And then we get the lines extended to where they need to be. And then we're going to move this requested chest here, because this one is supplying speed modules to the destroyer drone production, and that's what the level 3 assemblers use to be produced. So there we go with that. We've now got it requesting 50 of them just to make sure that it's well stocked, which means the last system is going to be running for all eternity. I'm not sure how well it's going to go actually, because it's very difficult for the bots to nab any of the level 1 modules, because they all end up in the level 2 speed module production straight away. I might have to do something about that, messing about with speed modules, so that the level 1 module production is going too fast for level 2 production, just so that there is time for for it to build up and the bots to grab it. But anyway, that's been sorted. Now we're setting up the next one, which is roboports, because we may as well set up some independent logistics systems while we're out in the field, to help with like wall repairs and resupplying guns and stuff like that, because that's probably going to happen. If I set up any outpost out in the wilderness, it's likely to be attacked by biters, just because I haven't cleared it out as much as I have in the main base, and of course the biters will slowly creep in as time goes on, and that's something that the base will need to be able to deal with it itself. Otherwise I'll have to keep visiting every 5 minutes to cut back the walls of advancing biter bases. But anyway, the next thing I'm going to produce is a slightly fiddly system. It's electric poles and chests, which both use wood. For a moment I'm very confused as to, I'm not really sure about how to do it, but then I just decide to use a system that I've been using in No Crafting Challenge, which has a row of 4 assemblers. You got a copper wire one, and then that one loads into a into electric poles. Electric poles is also loaded into by wooden planks, and the wooden planks also go into chests, and it makes a nice, neat-looking system where 2 have inputs and 2 have outputs. And so we can just put chests around the place to get that all being sent by logistics to the train. But we've run out of time for today, so I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time when we shall hopefully begin our journey.